Of mine asked me the other day for a recipe for ginger beer, and so this is what I will be showing here. I'll try to explain this as much as the way as my grandmother used to do it when we were kids, only maybe simplifying it a little bit, considering that now we don't have the same time that they used to have in the past, right? Okay, well, for this recipe we will need 10 limes, about 600 grams of ginger, 2 kilograms of sugar. The sugar I have here is brown sugar. In fact, I usually use the white one, the more refined one. Okay, so what I did here, I just cut the ginger in small pieces, and now I'll put it inside a jar. All of it inside a jar. Notice that I didn't bother peeling it. I think this only will probably make it a little darker, but we can filter it afterwards. And just take into account the fact that this is going to be boiled, so you know, even if my grandmother was a little concerned that peeling it would probably make it cleaner, after we boil this, and if we just want to make it go through a strain or something, it will be okay. I have all the ginger in the jar. I will just put some water and then use the mixer to turn this into juice. So here we go. The mixer will have to do its work now. Okay, I will transfer these now to a pan. Maybe we can even do a little more mixing afterwards, but now we'll deal with the lemons. Okay, so I just peeled all the lemons or the limes. Some people may prefer to squeeze them. I would just do the easy way again and use the mixer to turn them into juice. Much easier. Okay, I will pour all this lime juice together with the ginger that I already had there. Maybe I can even use the mixer a little more here. Oh, yeah, that was not what I wanted. And I'll add the sugar. Alright, so I just cleaned the mess that I had made here and added all the sugar. We'll try to be more careful now, mixing the sugar with the remaining of the ingredients. I just regret the fact that I'm not doing this in my big 20-liter pans that I usually, very big pans that I usually use to brew beer. In fact, this pan may not be big enough because I think I need a little more water here. This is very thick. But anyway, let's see how it goes. Maybe I'll just have 2 pans instead of 1 to do this. Yeah, this is going to be very dark because of the brown sugar that I used. Usually when you do it with white sugar, it will definitely not be this color. This is how the thing looks, you know, after a little more work with the mixer. If you don't have a mixer, you don't have to worry. I just cut the pieces of ginger very small and maybe just squeeze the limes, and I'm sure that the result is going to be great as well. Okay, I'll just put this to boil. Considering that I decided to use just one pan, I probably have to be very careful here, because otherwise this will spill out of the pan and mess the whole stove. Right? After boiling for an hour, I left this rest, and now we are going to strain it. The idea here is just to get rid of some of the skin of the ginger and whatever little parts of lemon that are still left. And when I was you know, showing all the amounts of the ingredients, the 650 grams of ginger, the 10 limes, and the 2 kilograms of sugar. I didn't mention the amount of water that I used. It really doesn't matter that much. This was the amount of juice that I got, and for my calculations this is going to be enough to make maybe some about 20 liters of ginger beer. I'll make some 10 liters straight away. For that I put just a little bit at the bottom of each one of these soda bottles, and then I saved the rest of it, which is half of this. I think I had about 2 liters of the, and that came straight from boiling, and I kept half of it for the 10 liters that I will do probably next week. This will have to be in the fridge so that it doesn't start fermenting. Remember, there's a lot of sugar and we don't want it to ferment with any yeast that is in the air. And these ones I will start fermenting straight away, and I will use regular bread yeast for that. I just filled with water those 5 bottles of Coca-Cola, and now we have about 10 liters of ginger beer that needs to be fermented here, and I saved another liter of concentrate for next week. What I have to do now is just put the yeast, and it's going to be regular bread yeast. I just filled 1/8 of a spoon, of a teaspoon of yeast would probably be enough. I don't have a measure for that, but I guess this would probably be enough. So let me just see if I can do it here. See, it just has to be a little bit on top of the thing. This will do the trick. We don't have to worry. We just have to now close the lid and wait for 2 or 3 days. It's better to check this every day, you know, after you put the lid on top. But you just have to make sure that this doesn't turn into a grenade, and it will turn into a grenade if you don't care for it. So check every day or so. I would say after 2 or 3 days it definitely has to go to the fridge, otherwise it will explode, right? And you don't want to see one of these bottles explode. 1/8 of a teaspoon of yeast would probably be enough. I don't have a measure for that, but I guess this would probably be enough. So let me just see if I can do it here. Alright, so I'll just put yeast to the other bottles. This fermentation process can happen at room temperature, but remember that as soon as it has already carbonated, and you will feel it has to be really tense out. When you reach that stage, definitely it has to go to the fridge and should not come out of the fridge except for drinking. Thing has been fermenting here for 2 days, and we see that there's a lot of pressure already building inside the bottle. We have to be really careful from now on. Maybe today is already the day to put it in the fridge. I'll wait for another few hours, but we shouldn't have this outside for much longer. Putting it in the fridge makes it so that the yeast stops working, or at least reduces considerably the speed at which it converts sugar into carbon dioxide and alcohol. And we don't want this to turn into a grenade, right?